All right, we're halfway through the NRLW and the Bundy Mixer season. How good has the competition been thus far? Overall, in the top 10 players for total mixer points, we have 4 NRLW players, which is just absolutely outstanding. Tegan Berry, Simona Taufer, Georgia Hale, and Isabel Kelly. Wow, the NRLW competition has really set everyone alight. I know it has for just myself as well. Make sure you head to the NRL Bundy Mixer if you've been eliminated from your comp to make sure you can pick your favourite NRLW players and NRL players.
Round 27 is here, and we are back for another rendition of the podcast. MPH is back. Dor, you're back on board as well. We got Flats as well. Yeah, totally different group from last week.
It is. Good to be back.
Well, it's changing every week these days.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Mate, you deserved your recall back after what was a scintillating run of social clips. And what was your favourite out of them all, mate? You were on when the Ashes was on.
The cricket one got around a bit. So did the... What was the other one that went around for the NRL? The multi. The multi pinged around. I think that went 3 for 5 legs.
We have a problem here at All Out. We decided to pick multis that lose first leg.
Yeah,
yours lost first leg, and then Flats has lost first leg as well, which isn't... not Flats, it's Eddie, sorry. A couple of weeks back.
We're on a mission to fix that tonight. I've spent my day at work deliberating, carefully choosing my multi, so we'll have that too later in the show.
I think it'll be very special.
I have no doubt. I think MPH is the only one that's actually hit a multi on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. He got one last year, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
I did.
I don't remember. So that didn't happen.
I've got a clip of it. Link in bio.
Okay.
Link in bio. Now, Dor, our NRL fantasy competition has actually wrapped up for the year, and shout out to All Out member Cobb Bentley for winning it all this year. That's his first chip, I believe. So, one up on you, mate.
Well done, Ben. Well done, brother.
But Dor, how'd we go in the All Out team there? We were climbing the ranks last time I checked, but...
Yeah, no, we made another 288 ranks last week. So, yeah, can't complain. In a week which was riddled with players getting injured and ruled out, with Hines getting ruled out there, which I think was Thursday. Or no, it was actually... I think it was Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, Friday afternoon. Hines got ruled out, and... I know a lot of people, not just us, actually vice-captained him, so he was locked. So that obviously didn't help the cause. But luckily, SJ was there on the bench. But look, luckily we had good depth. I hate to say it, but I think we're in real up shit creek this week with our team.
What's your overall rank now, boys?
Yeah, we're actually our overall rank is 1,424.
Is it a season high?
That is a season high, yeah. We've definitely, I think last year, I think I was saying it earlier in another podcast, last year I think we peaked early and then sort of slowly.
On a steady decline.
Yeah, we stayed pretty good for a while and then slowly at the end of the season declined. Where this year we've sort of started, I wouldn't even say it was poor, it was just a bit average, and then now we're starting.
The Knights maybe.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Great comparison,
actually great comparison, yeah. And we are finishing strong. We're making a couple of hundred ranks every week, so, yeah, can't complain.
Who's been your Kalen Ponga?
Oh, Kalen Ponga.
The man himself.
The man himself. It's been pretty good. Getting Cleary back was pretty helpful. Holding on to Harrison Graham's been pretty good for the last couple of weeks. Apart from that, can't really complain. Pretty good effort, I think. If we can get top 1,500, we'll be glad.
Now, boys, bit of context for this one. We did shout out the Brothers Rugby Club 4As the other week, last weekend on Thursday night, and a few of us trotted down to the game just to give it a watch. And it was actually a really high-level game of footy for a Colts 4A game. You would think it stands quite shit, but it's actually really good. And there was a point in the game where Uni was up about 10, and the coach has had an absolute blunder and thrown 16 on the field instead of 15. So at one point, the penalty got reversed from Uni's penalty to Brothers' penalty. Brothers go down, kick the ball out, march on to score, and then evidently a couple of plays later score again and win the game on the buzzer. It was actually unbelievable watching. So, Tom, my question to you, mate, is what are the top 5 coaching blunders this year in the NRL?
Well, this one's not this year, but I reckon this is one of the bigger blunders we've seen in a couple of years. Ponga to 5'8". How about that? That is one of the worst blunders I've seen in a few years. Lucky he's back at fullback. Another one is, but this is again, you can't really doubt the best coach ever, but Wayne Bennett putting Hammer to centre. I reckon that's a bit of a blunder. And Josh Schuster at 3 to 5'8".
Hasn't he had season?
On 800k a year. Look, I don't blame him playing at 5'8". They're trying to get the most out of him, but he's not it. And last but not least, Jason Demetrio. Get rid of him.
I thought it was a top 5.
Hey? Is that not top?
You've said 3 and then you've gone last but not least.
Well, I've only got 4. Oh, they actually got one more on my list. Jason coaching the Rabbitohs, that can be second. Just in general. I don't even know what the actual blunder is, but I just thought I'd chuck him in. And first, Brad Fittler. Don't get me started. I've had my word with him on this podcast, and by G, his Origin 1 selections were Dross, TPJ in the round 1.
Not even playing NRL anymore.
Who else was there? Like some other.
There was a lot of players.
Hudson Young.
Yeah, Hudson Young, Stefano. There was plenty throughout the series.
I feel bad for Stefano because then he got one game. But anyway, Brad Fittler, number 1. Get rid of him, New South Wales.
I think it's a good top 5 flats, and we'll touch on Jason Demetrio because that South situation, fellas, is
diabolical.
It's completely gotten out of hand. Like Jason would have talked to Sam would have talked to Latrell would have talked to everyone. If they make the finals, are they out and out straight away, or what's the go?
I don't even know what the coaching blunder he did. He was just on my list.
No.
It was just the whole thing.
Apparently,
Latrell, let me know what he did in the
apparently Latrell and Cody were running the show.
So apparently the whole fiasco with the coaching scenario with South is that Sam Burgess doesn't agree with how Dimitri is running the joint at the moment. He's not holding players to the same standards, basically. So some players are getting different to others. And then basically Sam's called him out and said, I can't take this anymore. We need to fix it. We're losing lost the last 4 or 5 games in a row. And you're still holding, people to different standards. That's just not how it rolls. Then basically, long story short, then Rusty got on the phone to try and resolve the situation because Sam and JD just aren't seeing eye to eye. And it just basically was best interests for them both to basically part ways. I think that Dimitri is probably now the most under pressure coach, I reckon, next year if South don't make it for finals.
And then you've got that whole blow up about the Clive Churchill medal. Clive Churchill's son, is it?
Yeah.
And the comments he made about Latrell calling him a cancer and stuff. It's
cancer.
Bit harsh.
So so many things about
is it though?
that.
Well, I feel like he's warmed into that.
He might not have had the best year, but he's certainly not what
I think
he's
you can.
being
Everyone's
described as.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I just think that he's just gone way too far.
Look, if it came from Joe Blow on the street saying that, whatever.
Yeah,
but it's come from Clive Churchill's son.
Yeah.
I think Latrell Mitchell is the most scrutinised player in the media.
And it's not just NRL. It's probably Australian sports.
He's the most scrutinised person when he's playing badly and the most hyped up person when he's playing good. There is just no middle ground whatsoever.
There's no middle ground.
It's either he's smashing it or it's just down the dumps the whole time.
Did we mention him at Luke? Who's that country?
Combsy.
Luke Combs.
The Combsy curse.
The Combsy curse has gone to a couple of people now.
Katoni. Katoni got suspended.
Nico Hines.
Carrigan.
Nico Hines.
Carrigan got ruled out.
There's a few there.
Nico Hines. Latrell. Suspension. Yeah, there's definitely Adam Reynolds.
But we'll look at TLT in a minute. But that Souths Roosters game is going to be quite the shape up for the 8.
Over under 2.5 send offs.
Yeah.
What do we reckon?
Jared's not playing.
Jared's not playing. Yeah.
So take one. So we'll drop the line of 1.5.
Yeah.
1.5. Yeah.
I think we'll go straight to TLT then, Dor, because there's some big games here heading towards the 8, especially for the Cowboys. We touched on the Roosters and the Rabbits, and also the makeup of the 8 because the Raiders are still no shot in there as well. So what do you got, mate?
I think what I'll do, Cord, is I'll go through these teams, and I think we can touch on. We'll have a look at the ladder and just get our opinion or what we think is going to happen over the weekend. So, basically, this is what I'm calling the REST-A-THON. This game,
The REST-A-THON.
the REST-A-THON. Broncos versus Storm.
Just a quick stat before we get into it.
Yeah, fire
There's
away.
$5 million worth of players rested for this game.
Wow.
Bloody hell. Well, that
That's
makes
a great
sense.
stat.
I'm pretty sure Melbourne have 10 players out, and the Broncos have, I think, 6. Well, 7 with actually 8 with including Carrigan and Reynolds. So, look, that's much to say. So we got Walsh, Herbie, Cobbo, Mam, Walters, Haas, Catewell, all rested, and we've got injuries to Reynolds and Carrigan, and Staggs is suspended, as we just touched on. Josh Rogers is making his debut, as well as Blake Mozza. I hate to say this, but apparently he is the next Cameron Smith. Tristan Taylor's back at fullback, and good old Jordan Pereira, MPH. He's back.
He is
in
back.
Flats. I'm
The
pretty sure
bootleg
you
Brian
agree.
Toto.
What's the go with Dean Marinara Sauce?
Yeah, he's in at the centres. Dean Mariner is
Jordan
in.
No, he's
Pereira.
not.
Isn't he on? Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not.
Arthur's and Hoyter.
Hoyt is there.
Where's my marinara sauce?
Yeah, I'm not sure where Marinara Sauce is.
Jordan
He must be
Pereira really
injured.
slipped under the radar, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Anyway, more changes for Melbourne as well. Meaney, Seve, Coates, Munster, Welsh, Asofa Solomono, Kamakamika, and Liero have all been rested. And then Harry Grant and Hughes have got injuries there. Should be back next week. Pappenhausen, boys. He's back.
Huge.
Starting at fullback. Great to see. Justin Olam, he's back as well in the centres. Nikorima and Wishart are in the halves. And then Falongo is making his NRL debut alongside Alec McDonald, Aaron Penne, and BBC star Jack Howarth is making his NRL debut.
Bit exciting.
Yes, it is. It is. He's had pretty big raps on him. I'm pretty sure the Storm signed him to like a 2 or 3 year deal, like
600K.
600K a year. Anyway, move on to Friday night. Keep this moving along. Unfortunately, if you really like a rest-a-thon, most of these other games aren't as bad, so we should be able to push through nice and quickly. Manly just only the one change with Dean Madison is coming onto the bench, and Tuolangi is going to 18th man. Good old Schuster, who we just talked about, is on the reserves, as well as Tui Pelotu. West Tigers got a few changes here. Alex Twal and Jake Simpkin are back for the final game of the season, but unfortunately Stefano and John Bateman are out. Josh Felady makes his NRL debut, and Kit Lualili gets his first shot at the big time as well.
Udor?
Look, if I spelled it wrong, pronounced it wrong, I would say it is Kit Lualili.
Kit Fisto.
Who's the hooker that made their debut for Manly last year?
Okay.
Gordon.
No, for
Chen
West
Kum-
Tigers. What was this?
Yeah, Chen Kum. What is it?
Chen Kum Tong.
Yeah, mate.
Chen
Gordon,
Kum Tong.
Gordon, yeah.
How'd he go?
Chen
Yeah, he kicked a
Kum
goal.
Yeah, he kicked a goal. He did well. He did well on his debut game. Good on him. Anyway, on to the big game, the Sydney Derby. The
battle for the
Rabbitohs
eight.
taking on the Roosters. What we will touch on, the battle of the 8. For the 8, should I say. Now, Latrell Mitchell is suspended. Taff, good old Blake Taff, is set to play fullback. Thompson comes in on the wing for Tane Milne. Totola starts at prop. And Jai Arrow going to the bench, with Michael Cheekham coming into the second row for poor old Hosty. And Jed Cartwright's among the reserves, looking to come back from a back injury. Big news for the Chooks. Teddy is back after missing last week with a head knock. Joey Manu as well, boys, has been named after only lasting probably like the halfway through the first half last week with the hamstring injury. Waria Hargreaves is going to the judiciary tonight, but I think he's only fighting one of the charges. He's taken the early guilty plea on the other, so he's definitely gone for 3 weeks minimum. So Fletcher Baker starts in the front row, who's coming to the Broncos next year, and Angus Crichton comes onto the bench. Move on to Saturday. We've got the Dolphins taking on the Wars. Touch on the Dolphins first. We just got Jesse Bromwich, the captain, coming back from the groin injury. So Jared Wallace goes to the bench. Kerr's out through suspension, so Max Plath joins the bench. Now with the Warriors, they've joined in the REST-A-THON, boys. So most of their frontline stars have been rested. CNK, DWZ, Sean Johnson have all been rested. Tuak Peaky, Ed Cossey, boys, is back. And Ronald Volkman back in the starting side. Wade Egan's also out with Freddie Lussick starting at hooker. Mitch Barnett comes into the side after finally returning from his leg laceration. So Fanua Blake is also out. And Tohu Harris, I don't know if you saw the post from this morning, but he is out with a back injury and is actually racing the clock to be fit for the finals.
The Warriors past 4 weeks, they're in a slump, I reckon.
Even
Although
though
they've won
they've
been
4
winning.
games,
They've been
first 4 pretty mid teams, and they only just got over the line.
They've definitely haven't been playing as well as they have like the last few weeks, and it's definitely concerning considering that they're going to have to come up against either the Broncos or the Panthers
Going
in
into the
week 1.
finals, not in good form.
You can't say they're in bad form, though.
No, they're still
They're
winning.
in
Are
bad
you
form.
saying you think the Knights may go further than the Warriors in the finals?
I would, honestly, I'd put a bet on it.
All right.
A bet on it? Yeah, that's fair. That's one for the listeners to
The
hold you
Knights will go
accountable
further
for.
than the Warriors.
Look,
Mark my words.
I'd agree that like they're not playing as good as they were in like rounds 19 or 20 something, but they're not losing games. Like, they're still winning games.
Yeah.
Lucky.
They're still winning games, like you said, Cord, but I just think it's the way that they're winning the games, which I guess, and like their defense is still looking good, but their attack, the potency of it just hasn't looked the same the last few weeks. Anyway,
If the Warriors were versing someone like, even like a Roosters this week or a Knights this week, it'll like really show where they're at, like going into the finals. But if like now
I still think it'd be a good game. I just think like Broncos and Penrith, who they have to verse next week, are like a good way above the rest of the competition. So and the way
team
they've
I
been
see the Warriors
playing,
beating in the finals.
It'll be interesting.
Is
It'll actually be really
Roosters
interesting.
or Rabbitohs.
because
it's going to be a good
Canberra?
final series.
Canberra will beat them.
no, but the way it pulls out, if the Warriors play Broncos, or if is it the Broncos 2 and 3? They verse the loser of 5 and 8, isn't it? The winner of 5 and 8.
Isn't it
Or is
1
it
and 8
6 and
plays the
7?
loser of 5? The winner of 2 and 3 plays.
Well, regardless, do you think that everyone's going to have a good matchup? If you make
bracket.
the finals, you deserve to be there. So, as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, some teams are like even the Raiders, for example, boys. Like they've definitely fallen off a bit. Like at least the Warriors have been able to get wins. Like the Raiders have been I think they've lost a couple of games in a row now, and definitely like their defense is probably the biggest thing. Like it could cost them. Like they've got a for and against, I think, of like negative 100 and something.
They'll turn up.
So they really big game. That's probably the second. This game that I'm going to touch on next is probably the biggest, I'd say, and then it's probably the third biggest. I think the Sydney Derby's probably the biggest. Then the game I'll touch on later, and then this one as well. Are probably the top 3 games for this weekend.
Crack on, door.
You happy to keep?
Yeah,
Yep.
crack
All
on.
right. No worries. All right. Penrith and the Cowboys. Now, this is an interesting one. So, the minor premiership's still up for grabs. Obviously, Penrith are only 2 points behind the Broncos and have a lot better for and against. And unlike the other sides, Panthers have gone pretty much as full strength as they can go, apart from Isaac Tungo, who's on the reserves. Who still hasn't come back. I think it's been like over a month now.
Very interesting, that one. Actually.
Yes. Yeah, so Edwards, Taruva, Kenny and Sorensen, all who were rested last week, are back. Luai, who's obviously out with a shoulder injury, as you would have seen multiple posts on the weekend from us. He's out probably till the prelim, so Cogger will be playing 5'8", who's done a pretty good job, I must say, when he's been there. Zach Hoskins is back to the bench, and Luke Gardner drops out to the reserves. And just like I touched on, Tungo's on the reserves. He's probably not going to play. Todd Payton, same 17. Good on Zach Labert last week. Got a double. It was probably the Cowboys, one of their best players, I'd say. Second best to Drinkwater. James Tamau, boys. Geez, he hasn't played in a little while. Unfortunately,
he's retired.
Battling injuries. I think he's retiring at the end of the season. He could be called in for an NRL Swan song, boys. Anyway, but Nanai was also, he's still out, sidelined with that shoulder injury, unfortunately. Now, we move on to the late game. It is the Dragons taking on the Knights on Saturday night. DeBellin's back from suspension, so Molo's back to the bench. Fino, unfortunately, suffered an ankle injury, so he'll be replaced by Finai on the wing. And Sullivan's on the reserves looking to come back from a hamstring injury. Probably one of the most publicised injuries from the weekend, Kalen Ponga, unfortunately suffered a grade 3 AC shoulder injury, and he's out for the game. And Lockie
Just
Miller.
1 week?
Well, this is the thing. I will touch on that. Let me get through this, and I'll touch on about Ponga with the injury. So Miller's back at fullback, and we've got Hastings on the among the reserves looking to come back from an ankle injury. I think it's a low-grade syndesmosis. Lockie Fitzgibbon, Tyson Frizzell, Dane Gagai, and Phoenix Crossland are all being rested. So Brody Jones, Tuala, Funamanu Brown come in, and Riley Jones makes his debut on the bench. So good luck, Riley. To touch on Ponga, look, he's got a grade 3 AC shoulder injury. There has only been, I think, 2 players with that sort of injury that have come back in the 2 weeks that Ponga is aiming to, which is one was Chad Townsend, I think. I can't remember. I think the other one might have been, I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's someone else that is also, Josh Mansour, that's who it was, have come back in 2 weeks from this sort of injury.
Sauce.
My question is, though, boys, do you think that he's going to be, he looked really in a lot of pain from that injury? Do you reckon, even with the needles and whatnot? I know you've boys probably seen, I think Haas has gone through, the AC joint, and you get, like Nanai, for example, you get one sort of blow, on it, direct, with the needle, and it's, it's so painful.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, if he's fit, he plays. If he can cop, and if he can cop the needle, he plays. So they got St George this week. Obviously, they're not too worried about St George because they're resting that many players anyway.
They could be playing a combination of any 4 teams, though.
Exactly.
In the first week.
The thing is, as well, is that's why they're resting the players, is because they're completely done. They're locked into the finals. They don't have to worry about their position.
Because I think it's a given they beat.
Well, if
St George,
St George have been pretty good recently, but just haven't been able to get the win.
The Knights also have a good backup fullback in Lockie Miller, who's played the position this year
might
and
be
done
his last
pretty
game.
well.
Yeah,
So,
it could be his last game.
Look, if I was them, if Ponga's fit, and I'm no medical expert, obviously, but if Ponga's fit, he obviously plays.
I think he's going to play regardless. I just worry about, hopefully they carry Miller, but I doubt they will. Hopefully it goes well for him, but it's just something to worry about, obviously. Anyway, last games, Sunday, the good old Titans are taking on the Doggies. Not many changes here. Fodawaker is back after missing the Storm game last week for the birth of his child. Congratulations, Mo. Isaac Liu is out, unfortunately, suffering a finger injury. Now, Bulldogs. Unfortunately, Tavita Pangai Jr.'s NRL career, boys, it's over.
Thank God.
Unless he comes back.
It's not over. It's not over.
It's not. Yeah, I think he probably ends up at the Finns next year, but that's another scoop for later on. But well, for now he is done. I think he's actually out injured. Also, Harrison Edwards is also out. Max King comes in at lock, and the new faces on the bench, we've got Sammy Hughes and Curtis Moran. Fatala Mariner and Ryan Sutton are among the reserves as they look to make it back for the last game for the Doggies. Now, probably the second biggest fixture after the Sydney Derby is Cronulla taking on the Raiders. Now, Nico Hines, big boost, is back for Newcastle. from a quad injury. So Trindle's back to 5'8", and Moylan goes back to the bench, basically.
Theoretically, the Raiders could be out of the 8 by this point on the weekend.
Yes, that is exactly right. Exactly right, MPH. Now, breaking news, just in. Corey Horsburgh was unsuccessful at the judiciary.
Oh, wow.
And is out for 4 weeks.
Jeez.
So the Raiders will be without Corey Horsburgh.
Oh, that's a big loss.
And they'll also lost Papali as well today, who's gone in for surgery for his bicep injury.
Did Joe Tarpany get anything?
No. That was
a free game.
That was a great hit from Tarpany, by the way. Well,
why would he actually?
Well, she
it's completely legal.
Yeah, dumb comment.
Yeah, it was lovely. Anyway,
it's one of those unwritten rules, though.
Yeah. NBA unwritten rule.
So Puru comes onto the bench for his NRL debut. Fogarty, who I think they were worried about a facial injury, he trained on Tuesday. Looks set to play. So that's TLT, boys. Quickly,
a lot going on there.
There is a lot.
Bit too much.
Yeah, a bit too much. But I thought we'd at least cover everything for our beloved
Final
followers.
round.
Now, boys, quickly, it's come down to this. The final positions. And it's great that the final round we're coming down and we've got some games that, are going to mean something. Who's going to play finals footy? So we've got Look, I'd like to lock in Cronulla, but we can't actually lock in Cronulla. So the top 5 are locked in.
I'll go ahead and lock in Cronulla.
Yeah, are you guys happy to lock in Cronulla?
Yeah,
Look,
Cronulla's not.
What's this score?
See, if Cronulla lose, unless they don't get flogged, their for and against is a lot better than all the other teams below, with 104 in the positive.
If they get done on point differential, it means the Roosters have gotten absolutely smashed.
All right, here's how it's going to go on the weekend.
All right.
All right, this is how it's going to go, viewers.
Talk to me.
I've also got a theory.
Go
This
first,
is how it's
Gord.
going to go. On Friday night, the Roosters are going to beat the battling Rabbitohs. The Roosters will not make the 8, however.
Oh.
The Cowboys will somehow make the 8. And I'm saying this confidently. They are going to somehow get in there. By for and against.
By for and
against the Raiders?
Against the Raiders. So the Raiders lose
to Cronulla.
The Cowboys win against Penrith and climb into the 8.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
But, so does...
Bold take.
Did you say the Roosters...
Is it? They have to beat Penrith
no,
and then
but
rely on Raiders to lose.
What I'm trying to say here is
Fair
if
enough.
you said if the Roosters are going to beat the Rabbitohs and the Cowboys are going to beat Penrith, then both those teams will make the 8. Because the Rabbitohs, who are currently in 8th, will have lost, so the Roosters will go to 32 and the Cowboys will go to 32 as well. And the Roosters will make it over the Raiders if they lose, because the Raiders for and against is minus 119.
So it'd be Knights, Sharks, Cowboys, Roosters.
If I was someone like Eddie Miles, who may have put on a bet to make the 8, the Roosters, I'd be a pretty happy man right now because they're making it through.
They're definitely not.
Good bet.
Before MPH goes on his, I think Sharks are in. I think the top 6 are good. I actually do agree with Cord, but it comes down to the Broncos. I think from what I've heard, the Broncos Storm game. If the Broncos win, it obviously makes it impossible for Penrith to actually get the minor premiership.
That was my theory.
So if the Broncos win and beat the Storm, the Panthers will rest, I think, a lot of players because they've obviously got the reserves and they've got the opportunity to be able to do that.
But it's risk versus reward. You want playing time with Cleary and Cogger.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, it is risk versus reward, but I just think that the amount of injuries that we had last weekend, it's just not worth it.
No,
like,
it's
imagine
not.
you
It's
lose
not.
Cleary on the weekend, and the minor premiership's done. Like, you're 2 points behind the Broncos and now 4 ahead.
There's a lot of people that say that they're against resting players for whatever reasons. I think it's a great idea. Like, why would
from
you
a
not?
fan point of view, I get it.
Yeah, from a fan point of view, but you've had 26 rounds to watch these
Yeah,
guys
but
play.
if this is the only opportunity you have to go to an NRL game,
I get that. But
We did have, I think, one fan blind.
As we say, the sport is a business, and business is sport. So Why would you not rest him and risk Nathan Cleary tearing his ACL on a relevant game?
No, I'm completely with you. I'm completely with you.
Why are you laughing at that, mate?
No, your sport is business. Business is sport thing.
It is.
It's just, I think it's obviously going to be better for the, for the product next weekend for the finals.
They're in Townsville, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
No, it's not.
It's in Penrith.
It's in Penrith.
Huge.
Ultimate task for the Cowboys, but they get it done.
But so like I just think
Have
that,
Penrith lost at home this year besides to the Broncos in round one?
to
They lost to
Parramatta
Eels.
last weekend.
Was that at home? I thought it was at
Yeah,
comeback.
it was that was it. That was
Good
at
form,
home.
that.
The more you know.
Yeah. So I
So let's just lock this
Roosters.
into the final
I
time.
think Roosters. I think Roosters will beat the Bunnies. I think no Latrell for the Bunnies and just how they've been playing with all the off-field turmoil. I just think that
It could be fuel for the fire.
could be, but I just think that the Roosters.
I know this is a
get
bit
it done.
random, but do you know when the NRL introduced their 18th team, do you reckon they'll make it like the top 10, top 9? Actually, can't be
You
9.
can't do top 10.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question,
I think
but-
Logistically challenged. Look at the AFL. They don't
But
do
like
it.
top
AFL.
8, and then there's going to be 10 teams missing.
Yeah,
out.
the AFL
Yeah.
do it like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the best possible way. The other way they could do it is like
Unless we
a
get to 20
bracket.
teams.
Yeah,
And then that will be a top 10, I think, potentially.
But I think you just have to.
It's
pick the
hard
top
to
eight.
do that.
Yeah.
Well, how about this?
I'm
This
happy
is a
with
good
that.
take.
Yeah. Is this your hot take?
So once we do introduce the 18th team, we do a play-in tournament like the NBA. How about that?
7 through 10.
That is a rogue
Or
take.
six-
I actually
six-
like
six
that.
till
I like
10.
it.
So
6 to 10.
It's still top 8, but like, 6 till 10.
That's 5 teams.
4 teams.
That's 4 times.
6, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10. That's 5 teams.
Well,
Anyway, it
What,
still
7?
works.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I reckon that's a good shout. What did you say? Business is sport. Sport is business. That's exactly.
Yeah.
I still think they should. I don't know. I think it should just be the same as what the AFL does.
Just
The
imagine
problem
the
with that
play-in.
is, and it hasn't worked in other codes because it just goes for way too long. But I do like the idea.
But they play. I don't know.
All right,
I reckon
boys.
it'll work.
Come on. Let's decide. So, are the Cowboys making it? Let's lock in an 8 so we can tell the viewers what we think is going to be the. I think.
All right,
I'm going,
this is the all-out top
Yeah.
8. The top 6 stays the same. Is that what
I
we're
swear
saying?
you've already said your top 8.
No. This is the
this
all-out
is-
top
we're
8.
locking
So the
it
top.
in. So we're telling the viewers this is what.
Oh,
this
then
is
I'm
what
in
the
charge.
8 Oh. I was
You
going
would
to
be
say
the
I think
last person to
Oh.
challenge it.
I think the Broncos win. So I think
Yeah.
I think Penrith will.
Shall I
rest
just
their
give the
place.
order?
Yeah, give the order, mate. Go on.
Broncos 1, Panthers 2.
Warriors.
Warriors.
Yeah, Warriors 3.
No, Storm 3, Warriors 4.
Like, it can't.
You
That
can't.
can't happen.
That's not possible.
It's not going to happen.
What do you mean?
It can't be possible because the Broncos are versing the Storm. So if you have the Broncos winning, unless you have Penrith
Yeah,
losing
Panthers
as
losing.
well. Yeah, okay.
So it can happen.
It can happen.
I
But
want
then
this
you
to-
have to rely on
No,
the Warriors
this
to
is-
beat the Dolphins, mate. I'll lose to the Dolphins.
What?
Yeah, because the
Dolphins would have
Dolphins are
to-
versing the Warriors.
Yeah,
So
mate.
Beat
The Warriors have come close to losing to the shittest teams in the comp.
Okay,
past
just say
Just
the
keep
say the
going.
Just say the mate.
How are the Storm finishing third?
because the
They beat the
Warriors.
Broncos.
they
Mate,
beat
just
the-
let
But
this
you
man-
said the Broncos were winning.
yeah, well,
They're
we are
winning the
2
minor
points
premiership.
ahead. So then
They're winning the minor
Penrith-
premiership, but they're
Oh,
losing.
Penrith
Yeah,
and
so
Brisbane are
Penrith are
losing.
losing.
All right,
Yeah,
mate, just
Penrith
say the
and
eight.
Brisbane
Say the
are
8 teams flats.
Go.
Broncos
for it.
1, Panthers 2, Storm 3, Warriors 4, Knights 5. Sadly, Sharks 6, Raiders stay in the 7. Ricky Stewart's the GOAT. And then the Roosters
Can't happen.
at 8.
That can happen.
It certainly
Can it?
can.
Yeah,
No, no,
it
it
can
can,
happen.
it can,
It
it
can
can.
happen.
I've already lost. I don't even know what the order was, but
All right, mate. We'll stay with you then. That's the top 8. We'll stay with you for this week's hot take coming from Tom Flatley as well. What's your hot take, mate?
yeah, look, I'm going a bit different. It's a different sport this week. I'm going with the Premier League. This is a hot take.
Time to upset some English fans.
Yeah, well, it's going to upset this bloke wearing his Chelsea jersey. Okay, here we go.
And the City lovers.
Yeah, well, that's it. Don't get me started on Pep.
Yep. No. Fire away, brother.
David Moyes is currently the best Premier League coach in the world.
What
Best
about
Premier League.
Andball?
What's he done? He's coached 3 games.
1-2, drawn 1.
He's done nothing though. Like last season, David Moyes had West Ham weren't that good, but after the season they won the Europa League, And then they're coming into the Premier League, beating Chelsea 3-0, 3-1, whatever it was, and then Brighton 3-1 or 0.
So after the 3 weeks, you're saying he's the best coach?
Well, so
And a very informed Brighton as well, may I add.
mate, David Moyes is a weapon on the piss. No, I'm joking. David Moyes, Europa League, coming into Premier League, winning 2 out of 3 against 2 big teams. He's
Second
the best
on the
currently.
ladder
He's
as well.
currently is the best EPL coach in the world.
Well, let's just see what the
Pep-
English fans have to say about this.
If Pep was coaching, I'm going to say this, if Pep was coaching West Ham, he wouldn't go as well as David Moyes.
That's a hot take inside of a hot
That's a
take.
hot take.
Well,
Lovely.
yeah.
All
That's
right.
why everyone's going to throw Pep hate.
Let's see how the English like that one. Let's see how they like it. Anyway, let's segue straight to Josh McPherson, who has the multi of the week.
In top 5 or multi?
No, we'll go multi of the week first.
All right. Last time I was on the potty, multi didn't go to plan. I think we went 3 for 5. I can't remember. I don't really give a shit what it was because it lost.
I'm looking forward to this.
This week, we have an 8-legger.
Just pull it out.
An 8
Go on.
legger.
All right. South, plus 10.5. Storm, plus 10.5. Seagulls, minus 3.5. Into Saab, anytime try scorer.
You can never rely on Saab.
Reverse crow. Dom Young, anytime try scorer. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, anytime try scorer. North Queensland, plus 18.5. And Murray, anytime try scorer. Wrap that up for $34.12.
How much are you putting on yourself, man?
I will be putting a cheeky tenner on this, I reckon, for a return of $340.12.
Sounds free, mate. Sounds really free. I'll be
Book
getting
it.
on.
That sounds special.
Listeners,
Very special.
If any listeners,
Gamble responsibly.
if any listeners have been watching from the start, we're probably like
And respectfully.
60 podcasts through. You wouldn't have made your money. You would have lost more money than you've won. By
This-
far.
Yeah.
But look, and MPH isn't on every episode, and he has
very true.
provided for the viewers before.
It's very, very true.
So and listeners, should I say? So
We'll stay with your MPH
yeah,
because
finish us off with
All
a
right.
we
bang.
made Clancy do the top 5 last week. but
In
this week's top 5.
Cordless gave me the task today of coming up with the top 5. I said, top 5 what? He says, anything. So in lieu of recent events in South Sydney bringing your dog to training day, I've gone with top 5 NRL players most likely to have a dog that causes injuries to other animals or humans.
Fuck, this
At number
is rare.
number 1, of course, is the man himself, Jai Arrow, whose dog attacked Jason Dimitro's dog. 2, JWH. 3, Matt Lodge. 4, James Fisher-Harris. And rounding us out at 5, Hudson Young.
What about Mitchell Pearce?
No,
No,
He's not in the NRL anyway. But what type of dog does Matt Lodge have?
probably a scary one.
Rottweiler, I'm saying.
Staffy. Dingo. I reckon he's got a dingo.
A dingo. Oh yeah.
Nice top
Plenty
5
of dingo
there,
attached.
MPH.
That's a pretty good top 5.
Really good
must
top
say.
5. I think we'll round out the potty boys. A lot of international sport going on at the moment.
Oh, most certainly.
And the most recent one was last night, or Sunday night, should I say, Monday morning, was the Wallabies against France. And look, I've had quite a few heated arguments with one Christian Mills, friend of the podcast, about the process that we should be trusting for Eddie Jones. He's currently 0-5 in his second tenure with the Wallabies, going into a World Cup.
We haven't won a game this year, I think.
He's playing mind games, mate. We're
He's
losing on
playing
purpose.
serious mind games with the media.
He's tanking.
No, he's playing mind games with every rugby team that he's going to come up against.
Tony Tupo came out today.
We're losing on purpose.
Tony Tupo came out today and he said, we just deliberately didn't play our best against France.
Didn't want to give away.
Is that what he
didn't want to
said?
yeah, he didn't want to give away.
It's
too
true.
many,
They just didn't want to give away too many secrets to the Wallabies. So Eddie's clearly rubbed off on the players. And look, I'll have a look at the rankings here for IRB World Rankings at the moment. Australia in 9th. That's probably the lowest we've ever been, ever. And if you go up the list here, Fiji's in 7th.
Well, they just beat.
And they're in our pool.
Who did they just? They just beat
England.
England.
And Wales are in 10th, one below us. So at this rate, Australia and Fiji get through. The only chance Australia goes anywhere near the semi-finals if we top our pool. Can we see us doing it, boys?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's possible.
It should be easy.
I reckon we.
It should be easy.
It won't be easy. It's shown other World Cups it wasn't easy.
I get that, but like
Last World Cup we
compared
didn't
to
even top it.
compared to
But
whatever-
you think about it, Joseph Suoliti is worth at least 20 to 23 rugby union points. So theoretically, we're playing with a handicap of 23 every game.
It's very true.
So if we lose by anything less than 23, take it as a win in our books.
It's all about trusting the process at
Yeah.
this point.
So 2025, will be straight up to number 1, I reckon, because $1.6 million man.
We got to trust Eddie. I think, like you said, we just got to trust the process.
In Eddie,
and
we trust.
And trust Eddie Jones.
And also Door and Flats MPH. We have the Basketball World Cup going on, the FIBA World Cup. Aussies went down to Germany, fellas. What was it, last night, Door?
No, not before.
Night before, yeah. It was a great game. Unfortunately, just in the clutch, we just didn't have it.
Do you think that was a foul on Giddy at the end there?
Yeah, it was definitely a can of worms there, MPH.
Touch and go.
Yeah,
Touch and go.
Controversial stuff. I know Giddy and the Aussie coach was not happy. How good was that insight, though? So the Aussie coach, like they started real poorly. I think we went on we were down like a 10-0 run or something like that. They called the timeout.
I love the insights.
And he just dropped like F-bombs and everything, and it's all like on live television, and no like beep beep or anything, just like fully thing. It was unbelievable. I loved it.
We have a must-win tonight. The Boomers do against Japan.
Japan, yeah.
Which we should hopefully the boys get the job done. I think we're pretty heavy favourites. Japan are $12, $13 something.
We are, what's his name, the Nets player. I love that bloke.
Utah
Utah
Watanabe.
Utah Watanabe.
Yeah, he'll drop 30.
I think, and it's Japan's World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, Japan. I think
Singapore.
it's between. There's a few.
It's in the game. I know the
hosting.
game tonight's in Japan.
I don't know how they got it.
I want to ask you this question because we went to the Olympics. What was it last year? And got the bronze. Where is Australian basketball at now? Because you sort of go around the world and you see Luka Doncic playing for Slovenia, and then you keep going around the world with all these NBA stars playing for different teams. Where realistically is Australia right now?
I think Australia's a top 5 basketball.
I agree.
If everyone's playing.
USA,
Canada.
Canada.
We're also producing some good talent as well.
Greece.
No.
Maybe on the edge of that
if they
top
had
5.
everyone.
If they had Giannis playing.
Yeah.
Whatever country Luke is from, Slovenia.
Nah, Slovenia, no.
France
reckon-
and dog water.
I reckon USA, Canada,
Australia.
USA, Canada, Australia. Like you got to think of
Germany?
not just you got to think of not the people playing currently.
What about Spain?
Like
It would be
not-
France.
Like
France would be.
you're not like you don't. If you're looking at it from like the whole perspective of like the world and all the talent and blah blah blah. I'm thinking you got like definitely Australia, Canada, US,
Spain. Spain are ranked number 1 in the world right now.
France, and then
Who's in Spain? So?
I actually
There's only one player, and it's
Hernan Gomez.
Usman
The
Garuba.
Hernan
Cruz,
Gomez
the
brothers,
Cruz.
Bo Cruz, yeah.
There's an
Garuba.
interesting stat here, actually. Or not stat, but like interesting ranking. Canada's 15th in world rankings at the moment.
Canada have got a really good side. SGA, Dylan Brooks.
I honestly think they'll win it.
Yeah, I think
The USA are looking.
On the come up next year, bit of a hot take for next year's Olympics. The Bahamas will top. They won't top their group. They'll make it out of their group.
They've got a great team.
Clay will play for the Bahamas next
DA.
year.
Yeah,
Book it.
Clay, DA, Buddy Hield. There's a couple of players
That's
that
a
are
MPH
definitely
bomb for
on
TikTok,
the
man.
Olympics. So boys,
China,
one of the
slow-mo. How about that?
Yeah,
Kyle Anderson.
one of the Olympic sports actually, the sprinting.
Lousy.
Now, Lousy is infuriated.
He talks too much.
Yeah, he's infuriated not only his own country, but unfortunately most of the NBA, saying world champions of what? The United States. When you win the... most of the players, when they win the NBA chip, say, world champions, blah, 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 go on because, NBA is the biggest league in the world, blah, 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 which is fair enough.
Let's look at it this way. What have been the nationalities of the past 5 players to win MVP?
I can name it.
Cameroon,
Well, that's the last year's one.
Yeah.
It's
Serbia for Jokic.
It's gone.
it's Greek/Nigerian, Greek/Nigerian,
Serbian.
Serbian, and then as Dawes said, Cameroon.
Yeah. And then you got Luka as well, who would be part of that. If you get an international team versus America, I guess it's not really fair in America because you got the rest of the world. But there's plenty of other basketballing talent out there in the world outside of America. I think that's proved by the fact that the last 5 MVP
Well, who's
winners,
the top 5 NBA players right now?
Jokic, Luka, Giannis,
Embiid,
Embiid.
Jason Tatum.
Tatum probably, yeah.
He's one of the best players in the world
So
He
you
is the
could
best
you
player
could
in the
make a
world. He's
case
probably
for
the
three.
best Celtic ever, and he will be the GOAT.
So
when he finishes.
at the end of the day, you can make a case for the top 3 players in the NBA being international players.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're on the come up, Shea, Giddy.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was really called for, to be honest. He's infuriated his own country. I don't think
He's got Drake on his back now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really likes him.
Not going to be much support.
Is he
for
any
him.
good at sprinting?
No.
2 years.
Yeah, he is good. He is very good. Like that's why he wins. Like that's why he's like world champion, because he is like. That's why he's saying like world champion, because like with the Olympics or like his sport, you know, you verse like everyone around the world.
But then again, the USA are the current Olympic champions of basketball.
Like you go back to what you're saying, right? You go back to like saying who's probably, you know, like the top 5 countries or whatever that have, you know, won the last sprinting events. It's probably like America and Jamaica. Like honestly, like it's not really like that is, you know what I mean? Like so much better than the NBA. Like the NBA, there's way more countries that are, or you know, more players that are playing that are at a higher level than there is for him sprinting. Like you look at Australia, like we even had a bloody, you know, well, with Jack Hale, and we've got like some Rowan Browning and you know those guys, but they're nothing compared to, you know, like the Usain Bolts or like Lyles or anything like that. So yeah.
Well, yeah, the Aussies play tonight. Do you say against Japan? So
Yeah.
do or die. We'll know the result of that before this is out. So
9:10, I'm pretty sure.
Hopefully
I think
they
it
get
is.
up.
It starts, unless this is coming out real late. Hopefully, it comes out the results out before then, but you never know.
anyway, I think we'll leave it there for this week's podcast, boys.
Thanks for listening.
Wrap it
Yeah.
up.
Laters.
Laters.